My name's Head. I live in a village called Great Brickhill in Buckinghamshire.
You know, the very essence of the mental game is this. The only reason an event matters is because we make it matter.
Welcome to the Mullins Farrier Podcast.
I had a soccer coach, and he always said, we are going to be the fittest team always out there. Because in the moment, you don't want to be worried about being tired. You want to be focused on the soccer game.
Right.
Which is what's going to translate for me, hopefully, in the CJF, is that I'm not worried about being tired. I can focus on the task at hand.
And granted, you use like, get your specimens made. 3 months before you take your exam, get all your AW specimens made. It's good to have other people putting that pressure on you as well. Sometimes if it's a single journey, and you've not got mentors that are coaching you, helping you, you kind of rest a little bit.
If you're hearing this, you are currently on the non-subscriber feed. If you would like to hear this episode in its entirety, please subscribe using the link below. If you're a student, apprentice, or just find yourself in a situation where it isn't financially feasible to subscribe, please reach out to me on Facebook or through the website. The good folks at Out West Design and Fabrication are lending their support by helping us to cover your scholarship subscription. You can check out many of their incredible projects on their Facebook page. Out West Design and Fabrication, your choice for farrier rakes. Now here's a sample of this week's episode. Thank you for listening.
Most people that I know in this industry only want the best for the other people in the industry, which is a pretty cool thing.
Welcome everyone. A little shopkeeping before we start. The folks at Farriers Depot are hosting an open house / expo at their new location in Ocala, Florida. This is a free event with multiple demos and raffle draw prizes all day. Their aim is to host an educational event for local farriers who may not be able to attend the larger conventions. For more info, you can call the store at 352-840-0106. Today's interview comes from last year's focus and features a gentleman who has seemingly been involved in all aspects of farriery. From his pursuits of the higher level exams, his deep involvement with the Worshipful Company of Farriers, culminating in his role as master of the company in 98 and 99, competing, which took him to North America, and manufacturing, where he founded the Mackenzie Nail Company, home of Vulcan horseshoes. My ignorance at the time of what MNC is the abbreviation of will become comically apparent in my response to Mac's favorite brand of nails. This conversation was very insightful into the many changes that happened in the world of farriery over Mac's career, and he shares many tidbits of wisdom throughout. I was honored to have the opportunity to interview this legend of our trade. I hope you enjoy the conversation as much as I did.
I've lived there quite a long time, but I was born in Inverness. But the British Army were responsible for that. My father was 18 years in the British Army when he got to the end of the Second World War, and he came out and started a blacksmith business in Fenny Stratford, which is part of Milton Keynes now. We still have a business in Fenny Stratford. We've got a farriery business in Great Brickhill, which my elder son runs, and we developed our interests. We have a fabrication shop in Fenny Stratford as well, with 8 or 9 employees. And then I got into horseshoe manufacturing more by accident than anything, but with the Malaysian Horseshoe Company in 1996, that's right. And it was the year I judged the Royal Show here. And I got involved with them, and the guy wanted me to sell his horseshoes, which he was manufacturing for Germany in the UK, and I said, we can't sell these in the UK because they're just too German. They don't suit they don't suit the English market.
Right.
They're warm blood shoes.
Oh, okay. So there weren't many warm bloods in England at the time?
No, there's a lot more now than there was then, and nobody shod horses like warm bloods. That's a new technology in England. But so he looked at me and he said, you tell me what to make and I'll go away and make him.
Okay.
So a year later, we got a range of shoes on the market, and I said to my son Sam, because he was working by then, we got 22 tons of shoes in a barn, And I said to Sam, if we don't sell these, we got a bloody lot of shoes to nail on. So we put them on the market. In 2 months, I'd shifted them.
All of them?
Yeah, all of them. So we'd shifted them notionally, and I got a second order in. And the second order came, and we started, I think the first year we moved about 5 20-ton containers of these horseshoes.
So there was clearly a demand for them.
Well, I learned a little bit about marketing, and they were economically priced, but they were priced at the discounted price that the other British manufacturers were selling horseshoes at.
Okay.
So you have to remember that time the British manufacturers were screwing farriers. I mean, literally, they were screwing farriers.
Okay.
You couldn't buy concave, because I wanted to start manufacturing in the UK, and you couldn't buy concave steel because you weren't in the cartel.
Oh, I see.
You had to buy concave steel from the cartel. You couldn't do that. So then this little Chinese Malay walked into my life, and he got a drop forging shop in Kuala Lumpur, and I went out there and we did some designs and one thing and another, and made the dies, and we started out with a range called the GP horseshoe, which is wide-webbed, concave,
Okay.
but solid-fullered at the toe and heel, but concave. And that seemed to go, it just fitted a niche in the market, and they wore well, which went on, because a lot of people forget that it's really important when you're selling horseshoes. Your owner wants you to come back and shoe them, but he doesn't want you to come back too soon.
Right. Yeah.
And
To fix a half of a shoe.
well, horseshoes have got to last the time, haven't they?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so there was obviously a need for. I did a bit of market research, and I kept away from the thoroughbred racing market because it was so cutthroat, and the Registration Act hadn't by then stepped into the thoroughbred market. And I mean, horseshoeing today is a first-class job wherever you go in the UK, and that's because of the Farriers Registration Act making everybody train properly.
Right.
But then the worst shod horses in England you'd see walking around Newmarket Heath. There's some awful stuff there, and I don't think people will thank me for saying that. So we kept away from the racing industry, and we made shoes for mature horses, mature thoroughbreds, which we put on the market. We called it the quality horseshoe, and that rolled us into the market really well.
Right.
So we got established in the horseshoe manufacturing, which was a good thing because I was getting too stiff to shoe horses anyway.
So at that point, how long had you been shoeing horses?
Well, I started shoeing horses in 1962,
Wow.
and I was bound apprentice to the Worshipful Company of Blacksmiths to my father as a blacksmith in 1963.
Okay.
And then I did a Kasara apprenticeship for farrier, blacksmith and agricultural engineer, or general engineer, I think it says on the papers, after that for 5 years.
Okay.
But the general engineering side fitted in with our business because we were welding, we were mending stuff, and we were shoeing horses, which you don't see now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you
You
don't.
don't see people doing that now.
Right.
That fitted in, but that gave me a training in general engineering, blacksmithing and farriery.
Right.
I then went on and I did my higher qualifications in farriery. I ended up with the fellowship when I was about 25 or 26, and I got invited onto the Worshipful Company of Farriers Examinations Board and their judges panel and onto their craft committee, and I joined the Farriers Company in 1978 because I wanted to put back into the company what I'd had out of it, because
Right.
there's no education above standard horseshoe in RSS in
Okay.
the UK at the time, unless it was handled by the Worshipful Company of Farriers.
Right.
And I appreciated their education, the education opportunities I had. They used to do courses all over the place, and
And those were put on.
by the WCF, they put a lot of money into farriery in those days.
Okay.
And I'm a past master of the Worshipful Company of Farriers now. I was master in 98, 99. But charitable trust is dedicated to the welfare of the horse through farriery, period.
Right.
And there's a few quid in there which pays for farriery training and pays for examinations, which people have turned their back on a bit at the moment. That's how it goes. The company's 600 years old, so they'll survive that. You get these little headaches in things every now and again. But so I finished shoeing. My son came back from Australia, be some years ago, 20 years ago, I suppose. And he said, "Dad, can you lend me 50 quid so I can get a jacket for myself and a jacket for my girlfriend?" Because it was cold. And I said, "I've got a better job than that. When we get home, there's a lady, so-and-so, who's coming to the forge with 3 horses to shoe. She always liked you. She always asked when you're coming back. And would you be able to shoe her horses when you come back?" And so I said, "I don't know what to say, but I think if I do the talking and you come and do the shoeing, you can probably charge the money and take the money and go and get your own jacket," which happened.
Right.
Yeah.
So then you transferred the business over to Sam?
Well, I stopped shoeing. I needed to get out of it because I hurt.
Okay.
And I'm glad I did, really, because you keep going. I still shoot. Had a really nice day shooting last week. But reaching up for high partridges, even with a little 28 bore, just hurt all of my back.
Yeah.
So you don't want too many days on the trot. Yeah.
No.
But that's fine. I still got a rifle. I still hunt deer, as you put it. And
So you're still able to enjoy yourself? And
I'll try, yeah.
Yeah.
Try. It's, I like the old armchair now. I'm quite looking forward to the armchair at the end of today.
Not the plastic blue one you're sitting in right now?
Well, that's fine. It's all right. It's still... It's the best seat I've had today.
Okay, yeah. So what caused you to pursue your FWCF in the first place? And what was that process like back then? I imagine it's gone through quite a few iterations since then.
Well, I was amazed. I took my RSS, which was Registered Shoeing Smith exam, which no longer exists, but registered shoeing, when I was just before my 18th birthday. Okay. I'd been at work 3 years then, and I did the RSS, and then at the end at Hereford I did the Associates, the AFCL, it was called, Associate of the Farriers Company London, which is now the AWCF. I did that when I was 20. You're not allowed to do it till you're over 21 now, but when I was 20.
And what did that exam look like? What did you have to do for it?
Much the same as it does today.
Does it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Much the same as it does today. I think there's probably more emphasis on at that time, there's more emphasis on probably on the written paper than there was, but there's still the practical test. The associate is still making shoes and putting them on a horse, making remedial shoes and putting them on a horse.
Right.
Which some people struggle with, I think. There you go. But then I wrote to Mr. Birch, who was the clerk to the Worshipful Company of Farriers, and said I'd just passed my associate exam last year, or 2 years ago. I gave him the dates I passed it. I said, would I be eligible for the fellowship exam, or have I got to wait a little bit longer? Because all the FWCFs you saw were all First World War men.
Okay.
Yeah. And I knew quite a few of them. And he wrote back and said, you are eminently eligible for it. There's the application form here.
Okay.
I applied for it, and I went down to Knightsbridge Barracks, the forge there, the new forge at Knightsbridge Barracks, and took the exam and passed it. I had to do a dissertation, much the same as it is now, in a written paper.
Yep.
And you had to then be queried by your examiners. If I remember rightly, there was a coincidence in that paper, which I didn't realise till about 10 years later in practice, because I wrote a bit on laminitis. And then I wrote a bit on something else, which I got quite a bit of experience on, because there's no point in writing about things you don't know, is there?
Right, yeah. And now for your business tip of the day from Andrew DeVisser of Fletcher Forge and Tool, makers of the FFT 100, the forge I use every day. One of the features I like about the FFT 100 is that if anything goes wrong, i.e. my orifices become clogged, or the Ontario roads eventually take their toll on the liner, Andrew has made it very easy to access or dismantle key components of the forge so I can remedy the problem quickly and get back on my way. Have a look at them online at FletcherForgeandTool.com. And now here's the business guru himself.
Hi there, everyone. This is Andrew DeVisser from Fletcher Forge and Tool, here with your business tip of the day. Today I want to talk about the concept of lifetime cost. The lifetime cost of an item or business expense is how much it will cost you over your lifetime, or at least over the lifetime of your business. So a great example of this is your rasps. They're one of the cheapest, if not the cheapest tool in our shoeing boxes. But over the lifetime of our businesses, most of us will spend considerably more on rasps than any other tool because they need to be purchased more often. The lifetime cost of my rasps is higher than my 16-year-old pair of GE clinchers, which, while expensive to buy, need to be purchased very infrequently. And on the topic of rasps, if you're not sharpening your rasps, you definitely should be. I have a video on my website, fletcherforgeandtool.com, under the knives and sharpening page, and that will get you started on that. So all of this to say, don't be fooled by a low initial number, especially for expenses like cell phone and insurance bills, which will recur every single month. I like to multiply expenses out over 10 years to get a proper idea of what these expenses will really cost me. And this gives a good long-term idea of what the cost will be. I hope that helps. Thank you all for listening.
If you would like to hear this episode in its entirety, please subscribe using the link in the show notes. Thank you for listening.